Hi everybody and welcome to Heel Heat. My name is George Coles. Unfortunately, my tag team partner Gary Rhodes had prior arrangements and could not make this show tonight. This is our Raw show for the week, our WWE show. And right off the bat, we had the return in almost a year, the first time in a year, Stephanie McMahon. Now, we heard that Triple H was going to fight Curtis Axel later on tonight. Steph comes out and puts a kibosh on it, which brings out Vincent Kennedy McMahon, who also puts a kibosh on it. No Triple H wrestling tonight. Lights up segments all throughout the night. Triple H gets frustrated with Vince, blah blah blah. Kind of not so much a hot starter. It did get interesting while Stephanie and Vince are standing in the ring and the Shield's music hit. The Shield start coming down, and from what I understand, because I don't go on the WWE app, Vince and Steph get out of the ring before Shield comes down. Hopefully, this is more of a teasing for a future confrontation between the Boss and Shield, like there was when Nexus attacked Vince, or maybe even Shield can attack Stephanie, leading to one of them fighting Triple H. Who knows? Or all of them. But I thought the opener was kind of soft, especially them going to commercial right as it started getting interesting. Next we had The Shield in a match against Team Hell No and Randy Orton. Now the most important thing in this match, and over the last few weeks and months, I really believe we're seeing the ascension of Daniel Bryan. I think Daniel Bryan is going from a solid top of the mid card, sometime main event guy in WWE at least, and trust me, I've always been a huge fan, and I'm thinking in WWE terms. He's going from this to a bona fide headlining star. The guy has constantly, getting one of the best pops of the night, if not the best pop of the night. He's going out there, and this was almost Ring of Honor-esque how he was wrestling in this match. I mean, he put it into fifth gear and just flew around the ring, was hitting anything that moved, was blowing out, doing everything from chain wrestling to flying to everything. I mean, he hit a headbutt that was 3/4 of the way across the ring. Daniel Bryan is breaking out, and he's becoming what no one thought he could be in the WWE, and that's one of the main guys. I dare to say he's coming for CM Punk's spot, and he's not far from taking John Cena's spot. Matter of fact, rumor is that that's going to be the Money in the Bank match. Cena versus Bryan, face versus face. But anyway, that's another story for another day. Team Hell No and Orton end up losing when Orton goes for the RKO and Reigns, and he gets pushed into Bryan, which sets up another chain of events where Bryan doesn't, Bryan saying he's the weakest link. Kane and Orton try and convince him he's not, but he's going to wrestle again to prove to them that he's not. And we'll talk about his future match later on. Now, the next match, they should have built it as a #1 contender match, in my opinion. The Usos against the Primetime Players. Two teams that have gotten off and on pushes. The Usos debuted a new face paint. It matches their gear, the yellow and the blue, and it's almost a tribute to Umaga's face paint, almost the same style, and I know they're all related, and I really enjoy it. I think anything you add to that gimmick the war dance they do in the beginning, the face paint. The guys are great. They're one of the tag teams that really deserves a push, but hasn't got one as of yet. They got a solid win over the Primetime Players, and hopefully that's going to lead to bigger, better things. A future encounter with Rollins and Reigns is probably where it's going to go. Hopefully, even if they lose, they're shown in a very positive light. Usos pick up the win here. Looked great. Love the new face paint. Primetime Players, great. Another great tag team. They really have the pieces to have a great tag division here if they really wanted to. But who knows, because they go back and forth on whether they're going to push these guys, not push these guys, not push the whole division. Speaking of guys getting a push, our next match is two guys, one on the start of a push and one that's been getting a really solid push ever since he's been in WWE. Alberto Del Rio versus Big E Langston. Their fifth match, the rubber match. They're tied at 2-2. I don't know about any of you guys, but I've thoroughly enjoyed these two against each other. Something about the chemistry they have with each other is just amazing. I know they hit a lot of the same spots. I know they do the thing with the cross arm breaker where Big E picks them up and slams them. I know they do that in almost every match. I like the wrinkle they added here where Big E was trying to get out of the arm breaker, and as he's struggling, Alberto Del Rio pins him down and gets a pin on him. I thought that was excellent execution of the finish. Like I said, I love watching these two go against each other. I might be in the minority here, but I think that's I think their matchup against each other, Del Rio and Big E Langston, has been one of the most refreshing things on WWE television in the past few weeks, other than the ascension of Daniel Bryan into rarefied territory. Now, coming off of that, we have a guy that's been pushed down our throats and a guy that I'm really burnt out on. They need to retool, repackage, needs to sit out a month or two. We had Sheamus versus Cody Rhodes. Basically a match to further the Sheamus and Damien Sandow storyline. Damien Sandow's on commentary. Sheamus gets the win, goes over, tries to shake Sandow's hand. Sandow tells him no a few times, slaps the hand away, ends up getting brogue kicked for his trouble. Or no, he got smacked, I'm sorry. It's just, I don't know. I like Sandow, I like Cody Rhodes. I'm just burnt out on Sheamus, and he needs to refresh himself. He needs to add something to make him interesting again. Now our next match is a guy that there's no saving versus one of the most interesting newer talents on the roster. We had Fandango versus the Great Khali. Khali, at this point, I don't see any value on TV. This match was terrible. The Fandango leaving, the whole thing was just a waste of time, really. I mean, you've got other more talented wrestlers on your roster that are being taken out of their spot for this. And no knock on Fandango. Sometimes you work with a stiff. Khali's definitely a stiff, and this furthered nothing for me, in my opinion. In everything that happened in the night, this was my most disappointing moment. Now, before we get into the next match, we're going to talk about our question of the week from last week. My question was, who do you think is going to be the breakout new star in the WWE, of the younger talent that's coming up through developmental, debuting now? Now, we have some answers from some of our friends. The first is from Choppy84. Hands down, the Wyatt family. I've been following Bray Wyatt on NXT and Luke Harper, a.k.a. Brody Lee, and they're great together. I'm not too familiar with Eric Rowan's indie work, but I'm excited for him to come up as well. Wonderful answer here. I like the Wyatt family. I enjoy the gimmick. I like the vignettes they've been airing. And I like their work in NXT. Very good choice. The next is from our friend Closure Damas. I would have to say the Shield would be the group that breaks out and becomes the stars of the company. Their stock is only going up each week. I wouldn't mind seeing Curtis, Biggie, and Titus become major players as well. Very good, bunch of really good selections there. I like what you're saying. I like all those guys. Actually, it's the roster is getting loaded with young talent right now, and there's nothing but upward mobility from here. I guess I worded that wrong, but nowhere to go but up for these kids. And our next one is actually something I do apologize I missed from last week. Our friend Josh Adams asked a question about Sami Callihan. Do I see him coming in and either joining the Shield or, coming into the WWE? Very, very excited, Josh. I like Sami Callihan's work. I don't know how many people are familiar with him. I got to see a lot of him in Combat Zone Wrestling. The little bit he did with Ring of Honor. The stuff he did with Evolve and Dragon Gate is just amazing. For those that don't know, he was a tag team with Dean Ambrose, a.k.a. Jon Moxley, when he was an indie wrestler as well. And he's every bit as good as Ambrose. I think I would love to see them work together again, whether he's a fourth member of the Shield, whether at some point they're a tag team, or even a feud against the two would be amazing in my opinion. Now, going on to the actual question, I just had to make up for that. Who do I think is going to be the breakout guy? There's a lot of great young talent, and that's the reason why I brought this up, is more to get everybody thinking about all the great young talent that's coming through WWE right now. My guy, I would have to say is, and I'm sorry if anybody doesn't watch NXT as much, I really like a guy named Corey Graves. I think he's got the look, he's got a style that's all his own. There's something about him that just says star potential to me. He could work in the ring. Everything about him I like really well. Bray Wyatt, I liked him when he was Husky Harris. I like a big guy that can fly around the ring. I've been fans of Van Vader, Bam Bam Bigelow. I mean, he's carrying on that tradition, and he's just as good, if not better, than any of those guys. My guy is Corey Graves. The guys in the Shield are awesome, all three of them. I see very bright futures for all three. Cassius Ohno, if he ever gets to the main roster, will be awesome. Sami Zayn, I think that's how they're pronouncing it. El Generico, he's going to be great. The future is very bright in the kids that are coming through now. I'm very excited with what they're doing, and even Sami Callihan, the next generation, this is almost like the 2002 through 2004 revolution, where we seen a bunch of new great talent come in. Batista, John Cena, Randy Orton, Shelton Benjamin, Charlie Haas, Carlito, Chris Masters. I mean, we got a whole bunch of great new talent just came in around the same time. And I think we're getting to that time again where a whole influx of new fresh talent's coming in and looking great at it. Great answers, by the way. Now, our question of the week for this week is, would you like to see them go back to the brand split? Where SmackDown and Raw are separate. Guys wrestle on SmackDown, stay on SmackDown. Guys that wrestle on Raw, stay on Raw. They have special occasions where they fight each other, Survivor Series and so forth. Royal Rumble, of course. And they keep the belts on separate shows. The World titles on one, the WWE titles on the other, Intercontinentals on one, US titles on the other. Well, let us know what you think. Hit us up on Twitter, hit us up on Facebook. Put it down where? Down there. Right down in our comments. And we'll talk about what we think next week. Our next match of the night is going to be The Miz versus Wade Barrett. Almost an extension of the match that we were talking about before the question of the week, Fandango and Khali. They finally announced that they're going to have a three-way for the Intercontinental title. It was an okay match, nothing special. I hate to say it, I did like the way that Miz went into the figure four. The figure four itself was still sloppy, but I do like that he's trying to add a new wrinkle, little little of Miz personality to the move. I didn't think nothing special of it. I just thought it was another hype for the three-way. Next, we have the contract signing between Y2J, representing himself, and Paul Heyman, representing CM Punk. Nice little, it's your average contract signing. They go back and forth a little bit. I thought one of the lines of the night was when Paul Heyman said, you know, we could have just signed this in the back, but your ego made you want to do it out in front of the world. I thought that was funny. Jericho gets some barbs in. They talk about where they're going to file it, and he puts the thing down Heyman's pants. I didn't get that part, but maybe it was just over my head. Some of their humor falls over my head. It is what it is. These segments would feel more special if they only used them to book super matches, matches we've never seen before, matches we're never going to see again. Something like Brock Lesnar Triple H makes sense. Brock Lesnar John Cena makes sense to have this. John Cena versus The Rock makes sense. CM Punk versus Stone Cold. Super matches make sense that we get contract signings, because the purpose in the old school days of the contract signing was to have two guys that really haven't interacted much with each other interact, and the fans get to see something they haven't seen before. We've seen Jericho and Punk go at it, so we know what that's about. We know they're going to put on a tremendous match. If that's not a swerve, it's going to be a tremendous match, and we already know this. So when they do contract signings for stuff like this, it just, to me, it's a time waster. Another time waster, we had a six-man tag match. The Bella Twins and AJ Lee versus the Funkadactyls and Caitlyn. AJ skips out on her team. The good girls win, I guess. You know, it's really disappointing to me when you watch a match like this. And you see, the Bellas aren't horrible talent. They're good talent. They're not the best wrestlers, but they're good. AJ Lee is very good. Caitlyn is getting better and better. The Funkadactyls are very talented, very athletic women. When you watch something like this, and then someone like me the night before watched Slammiversary and seen Taryn Terrell versus Gail Kim, and how amazing that match was, and Taryn Terrell by no means is someone that's going to light the world on fire with her abilities. They stole the show at Slammiversary, one of TNA's big pay-per-views. And then you get this diva crap that's just crap. It's just a crap match, and it shows. They could have done so much better. This six-man tag match could have been just as entertaining and fun as the Shield versus Hell No One. My opinion. But it wasn't. Now the next thing we have up, Daniel Bryan found his challenger, and he found Ryback. They had a little altercation in the back. They do a match. I thought, honestly, Bryan looked like $1 million. Ryback looked better than he's ever looked. I think this was Ryback's best match that I've seen him in up to date. Daniel Bryan, I don't know what you can say about this guy right now. He is so far ahead of everybody else, talent-wise, that's on the show. And he's getting the recognition from the fans, supposedly from the people in the back now. This guy has taken and butted his head up against a glass ceiling and smashed through. I mean, this guy, he is the guy that's going to do, I mean, just like CM Punk smashed through the glass ceiling, this is going to be, I believe this is going to be the summer of Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan is going to firmly cement himself as one of the top 2 or 3 guys in the company, surpassing maybe John Cena, surpassing guys like Randy Orton, Sheamus, put himself in the level with Cena and Punk. I mean, he's really stepped it up, and he's really blowing it out the box. Kudos. And then the match ends, Ryback power bombs Daniel Bryan through a table, gets disqualified. He's going to do it again. Cena makes a save. Curtis Axel comes out for their match, Cena versus Axel. No disqualification match. Interesting that it's a no disqualification match. They beat the crap out of each other. Ryback comes down, puts Cena through a table. However, Cena gets counted out. Axel wins again. Cena got counted out in a no disqualification match. Let me repeat that in case you didn't catch it the first two times. John Cena got counted out in a no disqualification match. A match where literally there's never been a count out before. I mean, the logic is horrible on this. I understand you want to book Axel, say he's beaten John Cena twice, got that. Don't make it a no disqualification match if that's what you're going to do. Simple. Simple logic. It totally blew any good they did in the match, in my opinion, for the bullshit ending. It killed any good they did. Any good that Cena did, any good that Axel did, the Ryback run-in, all destroyed because the ending was such bullshit that it destroyed all of it. Now we're going to go right into our rating system. For those of you that have watched our show before, you know we rate from 1 to 5. For those that haven't, basically, a number 1's a John Cena, a 2's a Big Show, 3 is a Sheamus, 4 is a Daniel Bryan, 5 is a CM Punk. We're probably going to change these up in a little bit because some guys are moving up and some are moving down. But I'm going to give this show a 3, a Sheamus, Shield. The 2 matches with Daniel Bryan were absolutely the highlight of the night. 80 Alberto Del Rio and Big E Langston was good. I really liked it. Other than that, nothing. Oh, the Usos getting a push, that was very interesting to me. Other than those things, really, it wasn't nothing special. I mean, Cena versus Axel had the horrible ending. The 6 Diva match was terrible. The contract signing, it is what it is. Miz versus Barrett, nothing great. Fandango versus Khali, nothing. Sheamus versus Cody wasn't even that great. Cody's a good wrestler, but that was terrible. I mean, the only reason it's getting a 3 as opposed to a 1 or a 2 is Daniel Bryan busting his ass and giving us 2 great matches. Also, Alberto Del Rio and Big E Langston putting off another great match. Other than that, this show would be a 1. I mean, without those 3 things, this show's terrible. And they wonder why their ratings are slipping and why their ratings can't hang with NBA basketball. It's because you're not putting on a great show. You're not giving us a reason to stay around and watch. I guarantee if we had a great show, not as many people would flip over and watch the Heat game. Just my opinion. That's just one man's opinion. But anyway, that's basically all I have to say about this. My name is George Coles, and this has been Heel Heat.